It's time.
It's time.
It's time. Well, some of you may or may not be aware of the fact that I'm kind of involved with the Lafayette Honor Flight program. I don't know whether I've mentioned that before or not. I think maybe I probably have. But my button is being pushed again today. And one of the things I wanted to do before I introduce Pam is I just wanted to read a list of the members of the Lafayette Kiwanis Club that have been on honor flights. And this list includes Billy Hooper, Bill Pritchett's been on one, Russ Hart, Buck Hudgens, Sam Postlethwaite was on the first one, along with Buck. Jeff Love has been on one. I was so glad that I managed to talk Don Bloodgood into getting on one of these flights before we lost him. That was very special for me. Ted Reeser, Bill Fall was on one of those flights. And Laura Zeman, she keeps showing up on these flights. What is it, 5 or 6 now? Jairus Eichenberry was on the last one, or was on one last year, that's right. And me. I've been on one.
A few.
Did I miss anybody? Okay, he's back there, and okay, good. And okay, so that's a bunch of, there's three more. So the Lafayette Kiwanis Club is well represented with this. And see if I got a couple of tickets for you to see me before you leave today. So I want to enter. There aren't any words in the language that can express the feeling I have for this lady. And she's my hero. And what she's accomplished, along with Dana Van, her partner, is we were just thinking about that here, sitting here today. We can't hardly believe how this thing has come off. And for 5 years now, we've been doing this. And it's just building and building and building. And we're already starting to look at schedules for next year. We're actually thinking of adding an extra flight last year and doing 2 flights for the Vietnam veterans instead of 1. And as you can tell, everything we do is emotional. And we do a lot of emotional things with our program. But Pam will tell you a little bit about her history with the Gold Star Mothers, I think, right? Did you do that for us? And talk about give us kind of an update on the program as it is after we're in our 5th year. So I want to introduce Pam Mao.
It's always a pleasure to be here, and I feel very at home because I know so many of you now. So we always continue to appreciate everybody's support in the community, and I think you guys have a very special group here, and I'm always glad to come here and talk about my favorite subject of honor flight. It's always great. That very first flight, I think Ted and I came and spoke after Sam went on that first flight, and this is why we do it. When somebody like Sam, after that first flight, I remember coming to the Kiwanis Club, and it was his birthday. We were so pleased that it was Sam's birthday. But I remember coming to that next Kiwanis meeting after Sam had went, and he said, "Pam, I don't know how many more days I have left on this earth, but you made me one very happy man that day." And so people like Sam, everybody here that's been on an honor flight, you have to experience it. I continue to encourage anybody to go like Laura does as a guardian and assist a veteran, or if you know any veterans out there, we got to get these guys and ladies out there. So again, I'm not going to go into too much detail. As you all know, I'm a Gold Star mother. I do this. This is my passion because it's how I serve other veterans and honor my son at the same time. So I don't want to get emotional. I don't want to go there too much right now. But the one thing, I'm very proud to show you a new video. When we first came before, we had a really short video that a group had made for us. They've also sponsored the making of this new video, and we're really, really proud of it. And you are the first group to see it. So don't tell anybody, because we're supposed to premiere it next week. But I thought, oh, well, let's go ahead, and I want to share it with you. And really, it just goes through the day. I think, Miss Laura, I think you're in this too. We took this on our last flight. but it hits every war veteran that we took from each of the wars. And it's just a really special, I think, a very special documentary. It was supposed to be a short thing, but you know, how do you encompass everything in it? So I hope you enjoy this, and then we'll answer some questions afterwards if you have them. So can you start it from the beginning?
One of the mothers mentioned that she had been on an honor flight. When I found out what it was, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I'm going to ask the other mothers in the community if they're interested in doing that.
When the idea came to the Indiana Gold Star,
It's not too far from you, so that's
I'm the president of the Indiana Gold Star Mothers, and I am the co-president of the Greater Lafayette Honor Flight.
I'm Dana Van, and I am the vice president for the Indiana Gold Star Mothers, and I am on the Lafayette Honor Flight Board.
I decided to email other Gold Star departments throughout the United States. I was looking for a new service project, and I got a bunch of feedback. And one of the mothers mentioned that she had been on an honor flight. When I found out what it was, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I'm going to ask the other mothers in the community if they're interested in doing it.
When the idea came to the Indiana Gold Star Mothers, I was just really excited. I come from a military family. My father, my brother, my son, all in the Air Force. And so the idea of honoring our veterans just comes naturally to me. So it just seemed like a really good fit, a great project to honor our veterans.
Our mission, to transport America's veterans to Washington, D.C., to visit those memorials dedicated to honor the service and sacrifices of themselves and their friends.
We always go on a Monday because DC is just not as crowded, so our veterans really get the attention that we want them to have. So it starts on Sunday when we have what's called a meet and greet. We invite their families because not everybody can go on the flight with us. So we have a day of entertainment and start to honor our veterans. And I remember the first couple especially, we had veterans say, if this is all we had, we would be happy. So to go on the flight the next day was just a bonus, you know. So then we send them home and we tell them not to be at the airport till 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, they're usually there waiting for us when we get there. My husband says it's like a little kid on Christmas morning, you know. They can't wait to do this. So we get to the airport, we get them signed in, get them their information, send them to the back for breakfast. You know, the Purdue band's there playing patriotic music. And then we're ready to get on the plane. We wait for the plane to get there, we load, and head out to D.C.
All of our honor flight veterans are matched with a guardian. Many times it's a relative, a son, daughter, grandchild, someone to make sure that that veteran has a very special day. And if they don't have a relative that comes, we have volunteers from our community that volunteer to go along and provide for that veteran for the day and have a trip of a lifetime and great memories of one of our nation's veterans.
We came to Washington, D.C. We're greeted with a wonderful welcome from the Honor Flight Network out there. They plan arrivals for us out there, and they tell everybody in the terminal that an honor flight's arriving. So people come from everywhere and welcome our veterans, which is very unexpected to them. They're just not used to all the hoopla that comes there. So again, each step of the way, we feel like, oh, this is better than the last step. You know, just wait now. We always say, oh, this is just the beginning, you know.
They just announced that this was happening, and although we know about them, we've never seen one. So it's just been really great that we just walk down and see this. Honor these great guys that I grew up with all my life.
to the World War II Memorial. We spend time there.
Shirley Sharp Monroe. Okay. Don Sharp's daughter from Frankfort, Indiana. But my husband and I live in Fredericksburg, Virginia now. So we took the train up today to catch my dad here. That's my dad. Don Sharp from Been here a while. That's okay. It's not a camera. There's a whole lot of you guys.
Dedicated on May 29, 2004, the National World War II Memorial was designed by architect Friedrich St. Florian. 56 pillars and 2 arches surround the Monument Plaza in Fountain. The Freedom Wall holds 448 gold stars. Each star represents 100 Americans who died during World War II. The wall is a sobering reminder of the price paid for freedom.
Then we get back on our buses and go over to the Lincoln Memorial, the Vietnam Wall, and the Korean Memorial. Spend a lot of time there because it's a bigger area.
Located in Washington, D.C., the National Mall often refers to the area between the Lincoln Memorial and the United States Capitol, with the Washington Monument standing at midpoint. Close to 24 million visitors spend time on the grounds each year, many of them making the pilgrimage to pay their respects to those who so bravely fought for freedom at the various memorials on the grounds. The three-soldier statue, designed by well-known sculptor Frederick Hart, depicts 3 young men who served amongst the branches of the armed forces during the Vietnam War. The statue, unveiled to the public in 1984, faces the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, the bronze figures gazing in tribute towards their fallen compatriots, whose names are engraved in memoriam. Spanning 2 acres, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, designed by architect Maya Lin, honors U.S. troops in chronological order who served, fought, were reported missing in action, or died in service in Vietnam, Southeast Asia. The sunken pathway provides visitors the opportunity to search for names of friends and loved ones. As of May 2015, 58,307 names have been carved into the stone walls.
This line, okay? There's Tyrion got it out there. Joe got it.
You know, these I was with these guys 9.5 months, 9th Infantry in Vietnam.
Amazing. They got John in Italian too. I slept on top bunk and slept on the bottom bunk. And so this, you know, I mean, this.
Constructed in honor to the women who courageously gave comfort, cared for the wounded, and gave respite to those during their final breath in the midst of the Vietnam conflict, the Vietnam Women's Memorial is a critical addition honoring the upwards of 10,000 women who served during the conflict.
I served in the Army Nurse Corps in Vietnam from 1968 to 69 at the Convalescent Center, CC at Cameron Bay, and then I went up to the 91st back at Toowoomba. Being back on this trip, it's like reliving those kinds of experiences and being back with the best men that you could ever find in our country, because they gave so much. And so that's why it's so important, I think, for us to come back and kind of relive and also find closure.
Commemorating the 5.8 million Americans who bravely served in America's armed forces during the 3-year conflict, the Korean War Veterans Memorial was dedicated on July 27, 1995. The 19 stainless steel statues that face the triangular-shaped granite panels were designed by Frank Gaylord. The United Nations Wall and Pool of Remembrance pay homage to those who stood for freedom at great cost.
We were a rice paddy, and it's of the way the war was in that particular field. I thought it was appropriate with the figures as they were coming through the rice paddies. That's the way that war was fought. All of the figures represented emotion in that particular battlefield. They all took their positions the way it would have been in battle.
The United States Marine Corps War Memorial, also known as the Iwo Jima Memorial, was dedicated in 1954 in Arlington, Virginia. Inspired by the historic photo of 6 servicemen raising the American flag on Mount Suribachi in 1945, sculptor Felix de Weldum longed to create the iconic image. Cast in bronze, the figures each stand 32 feet tall upon a base of granite, etched with inscriptions on the front and rear.
I appreciate this memorial. I just appreciate the Second World War guys a whole lot. Those are the guys that saved our country. If it hadn't have been for them, we wouldn't be walking around with this today. I can tell you that. We wouldn't be seeing this. This has always been, being a Marine, this has always been one of my highlights.
I really can't put words to it. Being a Marine myself, you know, and other than all the sacrifices and the life and everything, I had 3 brothers on Iwo Jima when they were World War II. Yeah, Marine Corps.
And welcome home. And it's a proud moment for me to be with you.
Well, same here.
Now, I get tingling. And I'm so proud. I'm so proud to be standing next to you.
Same here, Larry.
Amen.
For the sake of time, we're going to cut it off now, just because I'd love to share it with Rusty, but I know we have people, everybody has time commitments, so that's just a glimpse, and that's about 2/3 of our day. We go to the Air Force Memorial, and we end our day at Arlington National Cemetery, and it does take us all day, which is just fine, because we charter our plane, we charter our buses, and so we have that control. They're not going to leave without us, so that's the good thing. But I really would encourage any of you to, if you want to become involved, go on a flight. It's ask Laura, ask anybody that's been on a flight. People like Sam or Bob, anybody that's been on a flight, they are our best advertisers, you know. To hear about their experiences are the one thing that really can touch your heart. And once you go, I don't know, Laura, what do you think? It's a life-changing experience to go and spend a day with one of these honored veterans. So I encourage you to do so. I'll be up here. We have some information. If you need anything, any questions, I'll stick around for a little while. But other than that, I think we better cut it off for now.
Bless you for what you do.
Okay, I've got application forms for anybody that wants to get on one of these flights. We're looking at pretty much at next year now, and we have some handout materials that describe the program. And Pam, I know that you have quite a job of organizing all of this, and so what we have for you as a little gift for appreciation for coming today is the Lafayette's 100th anniversary organizer.
Well, thank you. Wow.
How appropriate is that?
Awesome. Thank you. you so
Okay,
much.
thank you very much. We'll be here to answer questions and come up and grab some application forms and that sort of thing. Thank you.